Hey there YouTube, I'm Yukitsu, this is the Yukitsu Times. Welcome to my channel, welcome back to Shogun 2 Total War, more getting in shape. I played some games in between this and the last video, and that's because I recently got the Atomo Clan Pack, and I've been trying to level up my Donderbus Cavalry to the point where I feel that they're viable, because I don't think they're actually a legitimate unit when they're level 1 through 4. I think they have to hit level 5 before they're really a valid unit to take if you want to really win. So I played a couple games, tried to get them some levels, but typically your opponent won't let you get enough kills to get a lot of levels. So they're level 2 right now, and I figured, you know what, I'll just play them in the organic manner in the actual games that I play. The problem is that you're going to rarely see them because I don't feel that they fit my army style all that well. They might after they hit level 5, but again, that takes a long time. At level 5, Donderbus Cavalry can have an extended range upgrade, which makes them significantly easier to use, significantly safer, and a lot stronger in a lot of general senses. So, once I got that, they should be a very powerful unit, but in the meantime, I've decided to set up another match, look for a rocket opponent, someone I can fire rockets at, and I forgot to turn allow mixed avatars back on, but I don't really mind that. I had it turned off because Donderbus Cavalry I don't think works at all against modern armies, so, you know, had to switch that off for a little while. Oh dear. Lines on this seem to be fairly long today, so I will get back to you as soon as I've got an opponent. But hey, I finally got an opponent who is a level 1, unfortunately, so we're going to have to remove these rockets. That took half an hour. Wonderful. Good times. Right. Well, sometimes that just sort of happens. Anyway, let's take ourselves the untrained Fugu Cook to nerf his swords if he's got any. Let's remove that. Let's remove these expensive swords, because I can't afford that. Let's remove some of our cavalry. In fact, let's remove quite a bit of our cavalry. Modify our army here. Can't really afford that good cav, so we're going to take scouts. We're going to take 2 units of light cav. We're going to have our bow cavalry. We got 3 units of spears here. That might be a little bit too much, but we got these long Yari Ashigaru. They'll be helpful. Let's remove one of those. Kind of considering demoting these Matchlock Samurai, but I kind of like them, so let's keep that as is. Let's take 2 units of sword attendants to bulk up our sword component just a little bit. Hopefully our leadership style general will keep them in line, and along with our lone sword Ashigaru. These long Yari Ashigaru are also absolute killers, so let's see what our opponent's got running from. Gifu Crossing Ron, he's a bowman slash swordsman, so these bow cavalry should help quite a bit. And yeah, let's get into this. Opponent's ready and raring to go as well, so yeah, it took half an hour to get a match. Not sure what's going on. Might just be that there's been a massive dip in popularity for Shogun 2 Total War. It might be. I don't know. The lobby actually looked pretty full though, so I don't know. Might be a bad time of day, although this is sort of normally when I record. Could be that karma thing that I was talking about last episode, where it's just like, you know, don't stop trying to use fire rockets, Yukitsu. Stop trying to use fire rockets. We'll like make it so you never play again if you play fire rockets. And I'm like, I want to play fire rockets. The game's just like, screw you, Yukitsu. I don't know. Maybe it detects I'm the sort of person who would use fire rockets, and maybe there's something wrong with that. Although, to be honest, you know, I find fire rockets to be a really weak unit. Even after I tested them out a couple times. They're fun, they can make your opponent panic, but as far as the effects themselves, it's like, doesn't really justify their ridiculously high cost. Alright, so let's get our guns set up over here. We want to go rush this armory, since that will be the only real building to contest on this map here. Let's get our swords set up around back here. These ones the long Yaris? No, I want the long Yaris on the right, and the normals on the left. That way I can cover for the fact that one of my flanks is weaker than the other. Let's get those cav back there. and have my archers ready to skirmish. Alright, let's go. What's my opponent got here? He's got some Bow Ashigaru. He's got some Mounted Naginata. I think they're slightly stronger than a Scout Cavalry, so I'm going to have to watch out for that. He's got a lot of Bow Ashigaru. He hasn't got very much melee capability himself, so I'm going to have to try and mostly deal with these Bow Ashigaru, it looks like. He's got a hidden unit in between these two units, the Yari Ashigaru. I don't know what it could be, but I get the distinct feeling that it's not going to be another bow unit, or... yeah, no, it's a Yari Ashigaru. Okay. Just going to set my units up near this armory here. Let's try and get a capture on it. My opponent looks like he's going to try and set up on that hill over there. I'm going to try and get some shots at this Mounted Naginata from behind this farmhouse here. Looks like I'm going to have to actually go around it a little bit. I don't want to go from the right side since that puts me in range of his bows. But as you can see, capturing that workshop, that's going to put me up in armor against his units. And now I'm just going to plug away at his Mounted Naginata for a little bit with my bows here. Getting some good shots, not very many kills from it. Let's get this, nah, let's not worry about it too much. Get our light cavalry over there, though. Oh dear. Okay, so his Mounted Naginata have gotten a bit too spread out from the rest of his forces, so that's going to work to my advantage for a little bit here. Okay, let's switch targets to these ones. Let's take some shots at them. Yeah, and he's forced to back off and take some losses again. Perfect. Okay, so he started to move his forces. What I want to do is sort of have my units ready and waiting in this wood here, so I don't want my units to be too exposed. Let's get our swords lined up behind that line and ready to counter anything he does here. Moving his archers to try and intercept my bow cavalry, so pretty decent move there. He's also got a Tetsubo Warrior Monk Hero units. Aha! Kind of figured his army was a little bit too small for its own good. Okay, I'm going to try and get into a position where I can get a few shots off at them. Let's get our light cavalry around over here so I can try and get a little bit of firepower against his units if he tries anything funny from that side. Let's just lock in on them and go for a quick set of shots here. Nope, nope. Okay, that'll be that. Just retreating back at these Matchlock Samurai. I don't want them getting shot at. Okay, and looks like I got the better of the charge with that light cavalry attack there. Going to use my second unit, charge around the back here. And just for the hell of it, I'm going to also charge in with these guys. That ought to shatter this Mounted Naginata unit's morale much faster.
Our men are running from the battlefield. Shame for this play.
That unit's broken, so let's break this unit as quick as possible. Looks like those Mounted Naginata actually are just barely capable of beating out light cavalry, so got to be careful of that, it seems. I'm just gonna... there we go. Okay, so that was a relatively close thing. But puts us in a relatively okay position. Now I want to be able to still shoot at those Tetsubo Warrior Monk heroes, so I'm going to start working around the flanks or something with my mounted bows here. If I get a quick charge off against them with my light cavalry, that could also be very effective. But currently what I'm going to have to do is try and force my opponent forward, and for that I need to capture this farmhouse. So I'm going to work on it with these Lone Sword Ashigaru. He's got a unit of Yari Ashigaru facing this way, so I'm going to oblige him that take those shots over here. Let's take them off of melee mode here. Yeah, there we go. And that's going to start whittling away at those Yari Ashigaru here. Hopefully I'll be able to get some kills. Just moving these bow Ashigaru very quickly to respond. See if I can get a volley off before I have to run these guys away again. Yeah, okay. No, there's this hill here is going to make it a little bit harder to run away. Don't think I took any casualties there though, so that's fine. He's got a click order, so if he's not careful, I can run my cavalry over there. The thing about these bows is that, you know, your opponent has to really be on their toes to counter it, and at the same time, I really need to be working hard to get the best use out of them. Okay. So with this farmhouse, skirmishing is going to be even a little bit easier. And at this point, I'm just going to run down the timer. Since my opponent has got a very good position on a sort of high ground, decent arcs of fire around, so it's very dangerous for me to actually try and directly attack him. There's no real point in doing it. Instead, what I'm going to do is just keep picking at his units, try and stop him from capturing anything for a little while here. What I could potentially do now is maybe snipe this one unit of Bow Ashigaru, since he doesn't really have the mobility to stop me from doing that. Yeah, that'll chase them off and let me get some free shots with these this bow cav as he tries to reform back in line. But at this point, the big thing is that, like, my opponent has to do something to attack me, and his army composition isn't really set up to do that. He has got those really ridiculously scary bow Tetsubo warrior monks, which can actually do a lot of damage potentially, but just long as I'm defending at this point in time, I'm at a big advantage. Ooh, that one got me pretty bad. I got way too close on that one. Okay, so... let's go like this. Let's run these guys away again. And he's decided to finally charge forward, so that'll work well for us.
Our general is in grave danger, my lord.
Going to charge in with both of our cavalry units here. Oops, shoot. Yari Ashigaru versus my Yari Ashigaru, so I'm going to need to inspire my unit here. Gonna pop a rally, stand and fight. What I need to do is get these guys set up to attack his Tetsubo Warrior Monk heroes, which are going for the capture on that building over there. Not really certain as to why he's doing that, honestly, but it happens. Okay, let's get into these archers here. And at this point, my opponent's main line has sort of crumbled, and that's going to really make it impossible for him to win this in the long term. Simply, at this point, I just need to set up and get those Tetsubo Warrior Monk heroes really nailed with these guns. If I don't do that, I could be still potentially be in trouble. But as you can see, like, his general is kind of in trouble. Pretty much the rest of his army's kind of crumbled here. I've let him get his Tetsubo Warrior Monk heroes in on these sword attendants who have no hope, because that'll pin him down long enough for me to shoot at him with these guns here. You can see that those shots are going to do a pretty good job cleaning them up. Causing a lot of friendly fire, but again, Naginata attendants, sword attendants, they're both sort of meat shield units. And that'll be the game. And the reason I was playing so timid in this one is that I knew that those Tetsubo Warrior Monk heroes, if they got in on my units effectively, would be a real problem. Like, they could kill 2 units by themselves, potentially, if they were lucky. And I just couldn't afford to let that happen. Especially for a relatively cheap hero unit. They're very effective. They get a good bonsai charge. Since my opponent was sort of keeping them in reserve because he knew that what I was hunting for was them, it gave me a lot of opportunities to open up holes in his main assault, because he had to keep them further in the back. And that gave me plenty of time to adapt to his strategy and get my units in the right position to deal with them. But they were the unit that I had my eye on pretty much that match, because they are the unit that could really wreck everything. Anyway, let's hope that I get another Bow Cavalry veteran unit. That would be really nice. If I get another light cavalry unit, I'm going to not be very happy with that, because I suspect actually that I'm probably going to get the light cavalry. Geisha Poisoner, not very good. Increases enemy avatar cooldowns, not very good, since you usually don't have more than one use of your avatar's abilities anyway. Bow Cavalry, perfect. Finally. I like having veteran Bow Cavalry. Looking at our unit statistics, our Lone Sword Ashigaru got 153 kills. It was Lone Sword Ashigaru versus unveteraned Yari Ashigaru that were outside of Spear Wall, so that was pretty much a foregone conclusion. Sword Attendants, they were basically just sort of a meat shield unit. They didn't really do much. Long Yari Ashigaru, 66 kills, 1 death is the big thing there. My other Yari Ashigaru, 120 kills, 33 deaths. My Matchlock Samurai, 46 kills, that's pretty good actually. Light Cavalry in both cases. One of them got kind of wiped somehow. I'm not really sure what was going on with those guys, but the other one got 117 kills, 21 deaths, not bad at all. And the Bow Cavalry, 317 kills. So, yeah, Bow Cavalry, if your opponent can't manage getting rid of them, will just sort of pick away until they've killed everything. My opponent's army can see that his Yari Ashigaru got 1 kill and 104 died. That's the big difference between Spear Wall and not Spear Wall. Tetsubo Warrior Monk heroes got 22 kills because they were getting shot at by bullets. Bullets do counter heroes very well. Bow Ashigaru, I don't trust large numbers of them. I wouldn't really recommend taking 4 units of them. His 2 units of Mountain Naginata, both of them sort of did an even split between kills, deaths. And his other Yari Ashigaru, again, you know, big difference between non-Spear Wall and Spear Wall. He could have done a lot better if he put them into Spear Wall. Anyway, let's move on to the second match, and let me just go let my dog outside. Okay, and we're back waiting for another match. Hopefully the line will be a little bit shorter this time. Last time it took me a half hour to get into a match, which is just appalling. But you never know. There might be reasons for that happening. If there are, then this will, again, take me half an hour before I find anybody. And they'll probably be like some sort of level 1 guy or something like that. Or like 10-star gold guy. It's going to like be really hard, but one of those two. You know, it's always one or the other. Never in between. At this point, I'm going to have to start considering doing a naval battle, which is really unfortunate, because the naval battles are not really my favorite thing ever since they kind of nerfed cannons. Cannons used to make it more like the line of battle kind of high seas fights from the 1700s. And you'd sort of try and line up your cannons for the broadside, and whoever got those off first or better typically came out ahead, as opposed to the sort of heavy boarding and archery fire ones. Now that the cannons can't really sink ships and don't heavily demoralize ships anymore, the naval battles are really sort of gone downhill in my opinion. A lot of people disagree because they liked running around in circles with arrow bows, but I thought the strategy with those was sort of more limiting in some respects because most of the ships kind of suck, and it's kind of like a land battle without maneuver. But, you know, I'm going to have to probably do a couple of those just to get to those islands that are left over. Not really sure if I need anything from those islands, but it's for the sake of completeness. Try and fill out the entire map when you can. It gives you the most versatility, I suppose, since sometimes, you know, you want to use those hero units. They can be effective. Anyway, it looks like this is going to take me a half hour again, so I'm going to just cut the video here and wait till I've got a match. Okay, so we got a match. It is literally 3 days later. So apparently there was a patch that went through that I hadn't gotten somehow, and my Steam wasn't patching it, and I couldn't find that there was a patch. So I couldn't get matched with anybody. Like, it literally happened while I was recording. So 3 days later, yeah. Fortunately, that got resolved, and now I can do whatever the hell it is I wanted to do. I thought this was some sort of like way of something telling me that, you know, I shouldn't take these fire rockets because I'm a little bit superstitious sometimes. But at any event, Caldera, I think I'm going to be able to take them here. Should be interesting. Should be a good match. It's a fun map at any event. But my opponent is not spending any money, which is a little bit disconcerting in some respects. Just hold on 1 second. Alright, I just wanted to make sure that Skype was actually loaded. I was fiddling around with it before this, so yeah, let's wait just a little bit longer for this guy. He's taking an awful long time with this, but, you know, that's okay. Now, the one thing I'm going to have to be worried about is that, alright, well, the one thing I am going to have to worry about is that Caldera does have a lot of trees, which can really screw over those rockets. And he could also just stand in the water, which also screws over the rockets, but both of those situations let me sort of dominate parts of the field, so nothing too bad or too disadvantageous for me, but you never know. The bigger disadvantage that I might have is that I don't have bows with this particular army setup. But bows, similar to rockets, if you approach from specific sides of the map, you can sort of mitigate that problem just by creeping through the woods. Like some sort of crazy wooden stalker guy, but yeah, I'm not sure what the patch was for either. I don't know what changed. Hopefully none of the units that I've just taken have changed all that dramatically or at all. That would be preferable. And hopefully none of my opponent's units have turned hideously broken or something like that. I'm not sure it was a balanced patch. I don't think it was, but what that did was it made it incompatible with my build. So whenever I tried to get an online match, no one else was using that version, so I couldn't get matched up against them. Alright, so I am beside the archery dojo, and there's the workshop over there. Now, normally I don't like the archery dojo because it's a little bit weak in a lot of respects. But what I can do in this particular case is just have unlimited rockets, so it works out actually a bit in my favor here. So all I really need to do is control that one building, and I'll be fine. Okay, I want my guns to be a little bit further north, so I'm going to put them there. Got my swords nearby. And I'm going to actually have my general and my cavalry all with the army in general. There we go. Now the big question I have for myself is whether or not I want to hide these Waco Raiders somewhere else. What would be strong is putting them way up here. That way if I sort of get rushed, they can sort of move down and come in at my opponent with a downward flanking attack. So I'm going to put them up there, I'm going to remove them from my main group, and let's see how this goes. Obviously, because of what's been going on, I haven't played in a while. So, you know, there is that. Okay, so my opponent is going for that sword dojo, which is what you're going to typically see a lot of people do under these circumstances, because it's a very strong building to get. But what I can sort of do here is just get into a good position and try and fire these rockets at my opponent. Or worst comes to worst, I can burn down the dojo. Yeah, my opponent's got some cavalry around there somewhere. Hidden. Looks like it's probably these guys. Okay, let's get this captured here. Now the problem with fire rockets is that they don't really have as much range as other artillery units. So they have problems in that regard sometimes. And they're not really that mobile or anything, so I could also have trouble in that regard. But working my way through the water here, I might be able to get off some shots here without risking too much. Let's see if I can get these shots off here. Zero casualties caused. Problematic, but can capitalize just a little bit. He's trying to chase with his melee general here, but it's going to be a bit of a mistake if he goes too much further. And this could be a real big mistake here. Yeah, no, he backed off. Might be able to get the shots off here. That would be really nice. Remount these guys. Those are some better shots. Yeah. Yeah, that did some pretty good work there. Still do need to be careful here, but if I get another shot off with these fire rockets, he could be in a real bad spot. He is getting ready for a more general attack, though, it looks like. I think he might be trying to provoke an attack from my cavalry, but gonna get this rocket volley off against him. Instead, not quite as effective as I would like that last one to be, but you know, I'm getting some good kills against him, really. I'm gonna move back again with these guys. Put these guys out of loose formation. I think my sound's gone all funny here. our general here before he gets the shots off against him. Oh, no, he got the wrong target, I think. Gonna run away with our guys again here. Just trying to make sure that he can't do anything too sneaky. Gonna want to move these guys in the right direction here. Maybe I'll kill some of his general's bodyguard with those lucky rockets, but don't think so. That's a good volley. Ooh, that's a real good volley. Yeah, there we go. So that's probably going to be his mounted gunners basically off the field. And even if they're not off the field from that, they're going to be pretty much trivialized from it. I think my sound stopped working for some reason. Now then, where's that light cav? And that'll definitely be that. Yeah, those guys are gone. Okay. We're in a good spot now. Gonna move these guys up a little bit. Get these light cav back here. Don't want them doing anything too crazy. Now, what were these guys? Those were basic Yari cav, if I recall, so... Oh, these are Yari heroes. I should target them, actually. I'm not overly concerned about Yari hero under normal circumstances. It's just that, you know, they're going to be a fundamental part of his line holding. So, let's get our units in a good position here. Fire rockets, unlimited ammunition are amazing. Like, if you're on a map that has the bow dojo and you can control it, that's just going to be hilariously, like, really good. My opponent's really bunched up here, which he doesn't want to be. Ideally under these circumstances. So I'm just going to pound away with these fire rockets for a little bit. My opponent's getting his cav up here, so I'm going to have to keep an eye out on them, but honestly I'm not going to be too worried about anything they can do. Don't want to get too far off both those guys. But yeah, he's just sort of running his forces away, trying to get them into those woods there. Get them out of this deadly rocket barrage here. Now, part of the thing here is I want my swords to get into his general, and the reason for that is that he's got a full-on melee general. The thing about that is that a full-on melee general is going to ignore my spears to a very large extent. So my Waco Raiders are actually the breaking units that are going to hopefully destroy him. What I need to do as well is get my general up here so he can rally my troops. Get in a stand and fight, potentially. Where are these rockets? Oh shoot, they're pointing towards that combat. That would have been potentially disastrous. Okay. So our Waco Raiders have killed quite a lot of his general off. We're going to lose this cav fight, however. Let's get these light cav up here. Fire rockets, fire rockets, fire rockets. Really good if you've got them and can sort of use them. Get these Yari cav off my general here. Just gonna kite backwards with these forces here. Get these Yaris up in a better position. Cleaned up his flank over here, including his general.
Our men are running from the battlefield.
That was kind of strange. Even now, fire rockets doing a pretty decent job of things. Just gonna get my those guys and these guys over here. Let's get our general and our swords down here again. Hopefully his guys are exhausted, so hopefully they won't be able to catch me, but looks like my fire rockets are going to go down. Should have run them away a little bit earlier. Even so, though, our mainline fight here has gone directly in our favor here. We're going to try and swing these guys around to... Oh, yeah, no, that was our battle. That was our battle. And that is fire rockets, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, don't normally think they're worth their money, but a lot of people just don't know how to handle being against them. Especially when they have unlimited ammo, because like normally some people will sort of spread their troops out as much as possible, try and take as little damage as possible from them by doing that, but like under these circumstances where they're allowed to just fire an unlimited number of rockets, they're really, really good, especially if your opponent doesn't rush early enough. I got a couple volleys in there that he could have probably mitigated if he just sort of charged in, but again, it's hard to say sometimes. And also that cap charge that his general committed to looks like a good thing, but the thing is, his general couldn't win because of that hidden unit that I had there, which is why I didn't run away with my cavalry when I knew he would beat me. Looking at our units here, got a little bit of kills from our Avatar's Bodyguard, quite a few kills from all of our Samurai units, except for the Waco Raiders got completely wiped out by that melee gen. Our Yari Ashigaru all did fairly poorly. They were being used as a bit of a meat shield. Our Matchlocks did fairly poorly as well. Nothing too surprising there. Yari Cavalry got completely demolished. What I'm a little bit confused about is why one of his Yari Cavalry smashed my Yari Cavalry when that should have been an even fight, but you know, that's fine. I'm not surprised at all about his melee general tearing through a Yari Cavalry, and I've seen a melee gen tear through like 3 units of Yari Cav by himself. The way you counter them is with actual sword units, and really, really strong ones too, because they ignore that bonus versus cavalry from spears. Fire rockets, they got 243 kills, which is absolutely amazing. That's sort of what they can do, set up and just fire away when they get the chance to. And if they do get that chance, they'll just tear apart an entire army. Light cavalry, they did a good job. I like that. 40 kills is pretty good. His mounted gunners, his general got 138 kills. That's a melee general for you. His mounted gunners got 60 kills. Those were all sort of Yari Ashigaru. That was what he was killing with those. That's really bad. His Katana Samurai, they did okay, but like 67 kills isn't bad, but I mean one did also pretty bad. Hentai Tentacle Rapists. Not sure I approve of that. In fact, I'm pretty sure I don't approve of that. And then he's got Justice Riders here. Somehow they got 73 kills, even though they're unveteraned as well. That's just a little bit odd, but sometimes that's how charges work. His Matchlock Samurai, I think they did about the same as mine, except they got killed. A little bit less than mine, but his Naginata Samurai, they didn't really do too much. And then he's got his Yari Hero, and Yari Hero were pretty useless, but that's because I was trying to target them with my fire rockets, which makes a big difference. And that's another thing with those fire rockets is if you target a hero unit with them because your opponent took heroes, they're just going to make their money back right off that. So it's a good opportunity for a unit that's usually very cost ineffective. Anyway, we got the trading post, which is a pretty decent building, but nothing too spectacular. It'll make your units 4% cheaper or something like that. So you can have a 4% larger army. Not the best retainer. Anyway, let's head on to the... And we're back, and this is going to be our last game for the day. It's a 5-star bronze general, Clark 342. He favors a balanced army and a very balanced general with a lot of different disparate skills here. Oops, crap, that's the wrong button. Shoot. Well, okay, that's going to happen. In this one, I've decided to take the Donnerbus Cavalry just because I figured, you know, give it a try, give it a whirl. I'm going to drop these guys. So now I've gone and rushed both of us, which is just kind of... stupid, but you know, it happens sometimes. I kind of need another unit of archers is the problem, so I'm going to grab these guys. I want my archers to be the mobile sorts, so let's get that. Let's get these guys. Shoot. Okay, let's get these guys. I'll bulk that up a little bit. Sort of the problem I'm going to have with these Donderbus cavalry is if my opponent has a lot of bows and guns, I'm not going to be able to do anything with them that effectively. The way you sort of handle that is you sort of hide your army around the back, or hide them around the back of your army, and when your opponent starts committing his units that can counter them, like his guns and his cavalry, you sort of spring out and you fire them at your opponent. So, just going to say this right now, Jucklark, I'm sorry if you watch this, I should not have hit ready there. What I wanted to do is hit modify army, and I just was going too quickly and wasn't paying attention. So, you know, if your army's not ready, mine's not as I want it to be either, so there is that consolation. Now, as I said in the Rise of the Samurai tournament, Oboke Gorge is a really poorly made map, and it's been mitigated somewhat in the current setting where they've added the capture point mechanic, where you can win the game by capturing the center, essentially. But this is still very heavily slanted towards capturing those hills, which you start on. So, like, you start with your stupid hill, and whoever can exploit that best wins. This would actually have been a fantastic map to have fire rockets on, because then I could have repelled them off the center of the map with them without having to even go down my hill or anywhere near to the bottom of my hill. My opponents played the Sticky Finger Stormmaster against me, which reduces my arrows by 10%. Fortunately, these guys have extra arrows on, and these guys are kind of going to be a bit screwed. What we want to get in this particular case is we want to aim for the Sword Dojo and for the Shrine in the center here, so that's what we're going to do. What I suspect my opponent has got is going to be a considerable amount of archers, and you know, it's a bit atypical for this game, but it's good for this map, because what you can do is you just have your entire army in this damn forest, and you stand there, and then you either pick away at the enemy until they die, or your opponent gets angry, charges into the stupid forest up a hill, which is terrible, by the way. You should never find yourself in a situation where you have to do that, unless you're on this map, because that's by default what you sort of have to do. So I'm going to have my ranged cavalry sort of over here, just as a kind of... they're going to be something I'm going to hold in reserve until I see what's going on. That way I can sort of use these guys to their best effect, I think. So I'm going to do that hidden unit sort of nonsense. Let's see here. Okay, so what I actually don't want is these guys in there, because I'm going to move forward quickly with the bows. Actually. There we go. Okay, so what's my opponent got here? He's got Bow Cav, Yari Cav. He's got quite a lot of bows. Bow Samurai, Bow Cav. He's got 4 bow units, it looks like. So he's going to be a very skirmishing heavy army. He's got 2 Yari Samurai, 3 Naginata Samurai, Warrior Monk Cavalry, Yari Cavalry, his General's Bodyguard, his Yari Cavalry. So he's got quite a good cavalry force as well, but what he doesn't have is a great sort of initial melee force. So I'm going to have to try and be very careful about that cavalry. Looks like he's going to go for a capture here or something. I'm going to get these guys down here as well. Okay, I feel like he's gotten his bows just a little bit out of position here. Can probably whittle him down a little bit. Okay, if he steps forward with these guys, I'll get a volley off against him, and that'll be fine. Okay, with my current positioning, I think I can actually get down here with these Donderbus Cav. And these guys are getting shredded up by my... I've got fairly superior bow cav in some respects, so I think I can win this one just a little bit here. Should not try and get too reckless. Now, the thing is, he doesn't really have much to stop me if I do that, so let's try and do that a bit. Now, I want to get rid of those bow calves, so what I've done is I've suicided one of my Yari cav into that. I'm going to use the other one to protect, but ultimately what he's going to have to do is try and fend off my rush here. Yeah, so I'm going to lose that, and that's fine. Let's get this general over here. Oh, those Donderbus are doing something really weird there. Okay, so I got a shot off against his general. That's going to be helpful. Oh, just nagging out a Warrior Monk Cavalry. That was a little bit clumsy on my part, letting that happen. He's Donderbus got a pretty good volley against his general, though. I'm pretty happy with that. And that's his general gone. Just need to get out of here with my Donderbus if I can, but they're pretty much screwed. At this point, though, it's basically just me turning around and mopping house. Okay, so I think I can get some more Donderbus shots off of that, but let's not get too overconfident here yet. Yeah, there we go. These guys might be able to hold out a little bit longer than I like, but yeah, looks like they haven't quite wiped out my Donderbus. Which is good, but yeah, okay, there we go. That's the battle. So he committed all his cavalry to one side, and when he did that, he left his army way open, because I didn't even really have to properly coordinate that attack against him. I just sort of right-clicked my units forward, and they swarmed over his infantry. And that's just how it is when you take that sort of very spear-heavy army without the proper composition or without the proper cavalry support, because what he needed to be able to do is sort of sweep straight from behind and take them out, but he was so distracted by my bows and by the sacrificial attack that gave me a huge opening to just sort of move in with my cavalry, or sorry, move forward with my infantry and my Donderbus cavalry, which gave me a really good shot against his general, which was nice, but I don't think that all in all they were really paid for themselves necessarily. Well, they probably came pretty close, but let's see how our units did here. We've got a new retainer, and the one I got from the map is the Katana Hero unit. I probably won't be using those very often, but let's see here. So Monk, Warrior Monks, and Nuns have +1 morale. All veterans plus 10% recruitment cost. That's absolutely terrible. Let's see here. Like Katana Samurai, all across the board, did pretty darn well here. That's just what you expect Katana Samurai to do against a very Yari Samurai heavy army. My Yari Ashigaru all did relatively well as well. I didn't put them in the spear wall, but I didn't really have to. My Matchlock Ashigaru got shredded because he was concentrating bowfire on them. That's a mistake when it's just Matchlock Ashigaru, and I mean, they only got 21 kills there. My bow cav, 22 kills, 14 kills. I wasn't really paying attention to them after sort of the initial clash of our bow cavalry. And my Donderbus cavalry over here got 62 kills. Not terrible considering what they were hitting. They were hitting fairly high priority cavalry units, including his general's unit. My Yari cavalry got kind of mauled up, but I wasn't really paying attention to them because they weren't important to what was going on there. If you look at my opponent's army, his bow cavalry did sort of similar to mine. His Yari Cav 1 got 102 kills, which is really good. I think they were killing my Matchlock Ashigaru partly. His Yari Samurai, again, they're completely outclassed by Katana Samurai. It's just not a contest. His Bow Samurai, both cases, they did a little bit of work, but I didn't give him a chance to really shine there. And that's sort of part and parcel of that. When your opponent has more bows than you, you have to be the one that attacks. So my opponent had more bows than me, I attacked. Simple as that. His Yari Cavalry, 95 kills. Not actually sure what they were killing. I think maybe they were the ones that got my bow cav or something. Naginata Samurai, 100 deaths, 64 kills. It's not terrible. Not great, but it's not terrible. I mean, they're a pretty solid, reliable unit. His Naginata Warrior Monk Cavalry, 77 kills. That was a little bit more than I should have let them have, but I was kind of not paying attention to my Donderbus Cavalry as much as I should have. That's the problem with that unit. They really have to be babied at this stage of the game. Like, you're sort of watching them wheeling around while they're trying to get shot at as general. Just atrocious at that, as far as that goes. But, once they get that shot off, it's just really damaging. I think his general is down to something like 10 men after one volley. So, very effective unit for that sort of thing. Though, to be honest, I prefer the revolver cavalry from Fall of the Samurai. But anyway, that's going to be our last match for today. I hope you found this informative. I hope you found this entertaining. And I hope to see you all next time.